Elias stood alone. The wind whipped at his worn cloak, a banner of faith against the dying light. Below him, the world stretched, a tapestry woven from the threads of destruction and despair. He gripped the cold steel of his sword hilt, drawing strength from its familiarity. This blade, passed down through generations of warriors, was a symbol of his lineage. It was a reminder of his purpose. He was the last Crusader. The weight of that knowledge settled heavily on his soul. He looked at the ruins scattered across the horizon, the skeletal remains of once great cities. Each broken stone whispered tales of the cataclysm, the apocalyptic war that had swallowed the world in fire and ash. He remembered the faces of the fallen. The echoes of their screams still haunted his dreams. Elias closed his eyes, a silent prayer escaping his lips. His faith was his shield, his only solace in this desolate world. It was a beacon of hope in the face of encroaching darkness. He was the inheritor of a legacy forged in the fires of 1,000 battles, the legacy of the Order of the Thorn. He would not let it fade. He had a duty, a mission. The Sons of the Void, a cult that worshipped the darkness spawned by the cataclysm, threatened to extinguish the last embers of faith. They sought to plunge the world into an abyss of eternal night. Elias would be their judgment. He would be the instrument of their destruction. The fall had been swift and brutal. The Sons of the Void, fueled by a dark power, swept across the land like a plague. Strongholds that had stood for centuries crumbled before their onslaught. The light of faith, once a beacon of hope, flickered and dimmed as the darkness spread. Elias bore the scars of those battles on his soul. He remembered the day his city, once a bastion of faith, fell. He remembered the terror in the eyes of the innocent, the stench of blood and fire. His family had been there, trapped within the city walls. He had been away, leading a patrol when the void descended. He returned to find nothing but ashes and silence. The faces of his wife and children haunted his waking thoughts and fueled his nightmares. His heart, once overflowing with love, had hardened into a cold steel cage. He carried their memory with him, a constant ache in his chest. It was a reminder of what he had lost, what he swore to avenge. He would not rest until the Sons of the Void were eradicated, until the darkness that had consumed his world was purged by the light of righteous fury. The wind seemed to carry their whispers, urging him forward. Elias gripped his sword hilt, drawing strength from their memory. He would not fail them. He would be their vengeance. He would be the storm that cleansed the world. Deep in the mountains, hidden from the encroaching darkness, lay the last bastion of faith. A fortress carved into the very heart of the mountain, it stood as a defiant symbol of hope. This was the sanctuary, the hidden stronghold of the Order of the Thorn. They were few now, their numbers decimated by the war, but their spirit, their faith, remained unbroken. They were warriors, each one forged in the fires of loss and tempered by unwavering belief. They carried the weight of their ancestors on their shoulders, the legacy of 1,000 years of unwavering faith. Elias stood before them, his brothers and sisters in arms. He saw the reflection of his own grief in their eyes, the burning need for vengeance that mirrored his own. They trained in the shadow of the mountain, their movements honed to a razor's edge. Sword clashed against sword, the air filled with the clang of steel and the grunts of exertion. Each strike was a prayer, each parry an act of defiance. They were preparing for a war they knew they might not win, but they would fight nonetheless, for faith, for vengeance, for the faintest glimmer of hope in a world drowning in darkness. The air crackled with tension. Elias could sense it, a shift in the atmosphere, a premonition of danger. He had called a meeting of the Order, their faces etched with concern as they gathered in the dimly lit war room. A scout had returned, his voice trembling as he spoke of shadows moving in the night, whispers of a ritual, a gathering of the Sons of the Void. Their target, the Cathedral of Light, the holiest site in the realm, a beacon of hope since the cataclysm. Elias felt a surge of anger, a cold fire that burned in his gut. He would not allow the Sons of the Void to desecrate their sacred ground. He would meet them with steel and fury. The Order, their faces grim but resolute, prepared for battle. They donned their armor, each piece a testament to their faith and their lineage. Elias strapped on his helmet, the world shrinking to the cold steel. that surrounded his vision. He drew his ancestral sword, the metal humming with an energy that sent a shiver down his spine. Tonight they would be the shield of faith. Tonight they would face the darkness.